Hello and welcome to more Caught on Camera. In this special episode, we're looking at wildfires from the last 7 years and the danger these blazes pose to our fair land. In this episode, we'll see drone footage of an entire mountainside engulfed in flames, drone footage showing the devastating impact of heat in Norfolk as gardens and homes burn on one of the UK's hottest days on record, and a wildfire in Dorset that was declared a major incident. All this and more coming up on Caught on Camera. This moment in 2018 when a wildfire engulfed fields during a searing heatwave before more than 100 firefighters extinguished the 50-foot flames. Around 20 fire engines were called to the 500 square metre field after a tiny fire turned into fierce flames and thick plumes of smoke in just 20 minutes. Eyewitness footage shows the flames spread across the dry field. The local fire service said that at one point, the blaze was spreading faster than you could run. During the summer of 2018, temperatures around Britain underwent a heatwave during which temperatures exceeded 30 degrees in some parts of the country. This, alongside dry conditions and low humidity, create the conditions for wildfires to spread. We're in North Wales in 2018, where this drone footage shows an entire mountainside engulfed in a raging wildfire. At the time, over 60 firefighters had been battling a series of blazes in North Wales for 3 weeks. This drone footage from North Wales Police shows the fire sweeping across 250 hectares. North Wales Fire and Rescue Service worked around the clock to battle the wildfire, but it was challenging, as a spokesperson for them explains. The hotspots involve peat burning deep underground, which is difficult to see. They make the ground quite hot and can easily flare up as the wind picks up. Peatland, under the right conditions, is essentially tinder for wildfires. Peat only burns when it's hot and dry, and more we're seeing warmer, drier periods in areas where peatland exists. Peatlands consist of bogs and ferns and is home to all sorts of woodland creatures, helping to sustain our beautiful natural world and have built up hundreds of years of carbon storage. But once peatland is destroyed, it takes centuries to come back. But there is another effect of peatland burning. According to a 2025 University of Cambridge study, burning peatland from wildfires has a disproportionate impact on carbon emissions caused by UK wildfires, accounting for up to 90% of all emissions from wildfires in dry years. Next, a 2020 forest fire in Dorset was declared a major incident as flames engulfed more than 150 hectares. This dramatic drone footage of the fire in Wareham Forest shows huge swaths of woodland ablaze, with flames threatening to engulf the surrounding countryside. Dorset and Wiltshire Fire and Rescue Service had 150 firefighters fighting the fire at the time, alongside officials from the Forestry Commission and Natural England. A farm had to be evacuated and the fire spread to beneath a number of electrical power lines, forcing officials from the National Grid to attend the scene. Nearby roads were closed and high-voltage power lines isolated, with fire breaks put in place to stop the spread. Speaking in 2020, Roy Wisher, chair of the National Fire Chiefs Council, said these kinds of fires take hold quickly and are resource-intensive. According to the National Emergencies Trust, warmer weather doesn't cause wildfires alone. Many wildfires are sparked by human activities, from something as simple as a discarded cigarette to campfires and even arson. Still to come in this episode of Caught on Camera. Drone footage showing the devastating impact of heat in Norfolk as gardens and homes burn on one of the UK's hottest days on record. Shocking footage showing wildfires raging across the Scottish Highlands. And dozens of soldiers being pulled from a training exercise to battle huge wildfires on Salisbury Plain. This 2022 blaze in Guildford had another worry for firefighters: munitions. This huge fire ripped through 500 acres of a wildlife haven after burning for 4 days on land owned by the Ministry of Defence. Large tracts of Pirbright and Bisley ranges near Guildford became a charred wasteland. James Hurd, Director of Reserves Management at Surrey Wildlife Trust, explained that it was a serious threat to wildlife. He said the area is an important habitat for woodlarks, nightjars and Dartford warblers, as well as many plant and reptile species. At the time, residents had smoke alarms going off in their homes, and others complained of a smoky haze all over the district. Others reported ash covering their cars, as well as an acrid smell drifting over the area. The land is owned by the MOD, which uses it as a firing range. A rewilding project was in place since 2010, and it has suffered previous fires in the past.
Good afternoon. This is an operations update from Group Commander Graham Mitchell, who is the incident commander at a large wildfire incident that's currently ongoing in the Pilbara and Bisley Ranges. This is day 3 of operations. Approximately 500 hectares of range have been affected by fire. A number of fires are still burning, however these are currently under control. Firefighters have been restricted by the presence of munitions on the range. We have worked very hard with members of Surrey Fire, Hampshire, landowners and MOD staff in limiting the spread of fire outside the perimeter fence. We will be remaining on scene for at least the next 48 hours, and I recommend that those living close to the perimeter of the ranges should keep windows and doors closed and avoid the area where possible.
Dozens of military men were pulled from a training exercise in the summer of 2022 after major wildfires hit Salisbury Plain. See, the blaze couldn't be put out by regular firefighters due to its location because of an explosion risk from unexploded ordnance. So soldiers had to fight the fires after their training exercise was halted due to an ongoing incident. At the time, a smoke plume caused by the flames spread across the county and could be seen and smelt in the Swindon area. 2022 was a notable year for wildfires. According to data from the National Emergencies Trust, between June and August 2022, over 24,300 wildfires occurred. This was a 300% increase from the same period in 2021. So what's causing wildfires? Well, a combination of a warming climate, human activity and vegetation conditions. In terms of climate, less rain and warmer weather lead to dry summers, and dry summers see vegetation like heather, gorse and peat become more flammable, meaning that even discarded cigarettes or unattended campfires can start wildfires. And according to the Met Office, wildfires are expected to rise globally by 14% in 2030, 30% by 2050, and 50% by the turn of the century, and they are devastating. These dramatic images show the devastating impact of the warm weather in Norfolk as gardens and homes burned. These properties in the Ash Hill area are seen ablaze with smoke billowing into the sky. Drone operator William Gentry, who runs Pink Spitfire Aerial Photography, assisted Norfolk Fire and Rescue Service with their efforts on containing the devastating wildfires. The footage taken by the drone enabled firefighters to figure out not only where the fires were burning, but where they had the potential to spread. A major incident was declared by local authorities after the Fire and Rescue Service was called out to at least 70 separate incidents in one day. Or as the earlier quoted fire official described, resource intensive. In other words, it leaves our firefighters stretched. Fighting these types of fires is expensive both at the council level and nationally, but it's also the damage it can cause to homes nearby areas where wildfires are often a threat. According to the National Emergencies Trust, the risks to firefighters battling these unpredictable and fast-moving blazes are substantial. Still to come in this episode of Caught on Camera. Dramatic aerial pictures capturing swaths of burnt-out moorland. Shocking footage showing wildfires raging across the Scottish Highlands. But first we'll see a large fire that broke out on moorland and sent smoke shooting hundreds of feet into the air. The huge blaze, which at one point covered an area spanning 500 metres, started in Marsden Moor near the Butterfly Reservoir. In 2019 and 2021, fires damaged the moor, designated as a site of special scientific interest, causing hundreds of thousands of pounds to repair. But that's not the only West Yorkshire moorland that was devastated. This dramatic aerial footage from April 2025 shows swaths of burnt-out moorland at the March Hay Reservoir near Huddersfield. Firefighters were assisted by 3 specialist fire crews from neighbouring areas including Greater Manchester. The incident came just days after a fire broke out at Dolstone Reservoir, 6 miles away in Greater Manchester. According to British government information from Forest Research, There are 2 times of year when the risk of wildfires is higher. One period is late winter to spring, when there's overnight frosts, dry and dead vegetation present, and low humidity. The other is summer, when, in hot and dry weather, there is a higher chance of heat waves or droughts. Wildfires during droughts, specifically, are more intense and damaging. But the changing climate is likely to increase the risk of wildfires in both these periods and may see the high-risk season extend into the autumn as well. According to forest research, there are 3 types of wildfires: surface fires, ground fires, and crown fires. The most common is the surface fire, which burns fiercely and spreads fast with long flames. Ground fires burn peat, and smouldering peat fires are hard to put out and can rekindle frequently. Crown fires occur less frequently, but are the most dangerous. They spread from surface fires and usually spread along treetops. Next, we're in the Scottish Highlands in April 2025, where this shocking footage captured raging wildfires. Gary Gregory was travelling in a camper van with his daughter when they spotted the smoke. As he camped at Loch Marar near the small village of Arasaig in Inverness, Gary initially thought the smoke was coming from a steam train. He quickly realised the danger and contacted the emergency services. After a response from the firefighters, Gary launched a drone to see the extent of the blaze and captured the shocking footage showing a moorland up in flames. The fire was one of many wildfires that had broken out across Scotland at the time as temperatures soared in early spring. Thanks for watching another episode of Caught on Camera. If you're watching on Freeview, stay tuned for more authentic television sourced from the hearts of British communities by journalists living in them. If you're watching anywhere else, please like, share us around and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Doing so helps us to keep making content like this.